Hey guys, and welcome back to another Bun Devlog, Devlog 17. I'm your host, Erik, aka Edit, and today I'm going to be walking you through the updates that I've made in the last few weeks working on my indie game Bun, which you can wishlist on Steam in the link below. So without further ado, I'm just going to hop in game and show you guys what's new, because there's quite a bit and I'm pretty proud of it. So this is our main menu now, slightly changed with the new Bun logo in place, and I made it rock back and forth just for fun. Of course, we have the updated sub count and Discord count. The sub count is actually dynamic, that like updates every time you open the game. The Discord count, I've just been manually typing it in, but you know, someday I'll figure out how to do that properly. But anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and press a button and show you guys the new save slot system. So as you can see here, we now have 3 save slots that appear when you enter the game. Number 1, I have already started a playtest just so I would have something here to show you guys. It just shows your current amount of gems and star fragments in that save slot. And that's about it. You go to the one that you want and you pick it into 2. Here we go. And the game just starts right off with that intro cutscene that I showed at the beginning of the new trailer, which I thought was just a nice, like, fast way to get you into the action. You understand what happens right off the bat, and you get right into playing.
Have you ever had dreams that...
Alright, welcome back to the world of Bun. Right off the bat, a couple things that you will notice are far away things are blurry. Yeah, I added back depth of field from, I think, probably Devlog 3 or 4 is when I first had that in. Personally, for this game and for how I'm using it, I like it. But I know a lot of people hate it. It literally does just make far away things blurry, and it tries to keep things in like a certain range in front of you in focus. So for example, even if I put the camera close to Bun will go out of focus, and sort of the ground and stuff is still in focus. So when you're platforming and you're like pressed up against a wall, Bun gets a little blurry, but the platforms stay in focus. I think it looks good. I think it works really well, and I think it adds to the exploration of the game, just because things look more ominous in the distance and it gives a greater sense of scale to the map. But of course, if you don't like it, that's absolutely understandable, and there will be an option in the video settings to disable that. And along with that, I added a little bit of motion blur that you can probably notice just as I'm moving around. That'll also be disableable if you would like. And I've already walked past a bunch of changes. You guys will notice the progress board is no longer here. The only information that I was showing on it was how many gems you've collected, how many gems you spent, and which of the levels that you've unlocked, which is a little bit purposeless. Purposeless? Sure. Purposeless, because to see which levels you have unlocked, you just look at these 3 portals. Those are your levels, and if you pause the game, you can see your gems in the bottom right corner at any time. So the only new info that I was telling through that progress board was how many gems you've spent, and that doesn't really matter. That's something that I'll hide in a Steam stat more than likely and just give you an achievement for if you spend a lot of money. Yeah, I added a falling leaf VFX graph to all the trees just to add a little bit of particles, and I think it looks really nice and adds to the world, especially over at Ellie's cart here. It's a much more magically forest type region. You'll also notice in the bottom left of the screen, we now have icons for your 2 movement abilities, roll and glide. So I've added these, one, so you can remember what buttons you have to press to use them. So like the B and the L2, that updates dynamically based on whether you're using a controller or keyboard and mouse. So it'll tell you the controls for the correct one. And once you have that unlocked, it'll show in like green or blue in the bottom left. And if you use the ability, there's a little pressing, like a little white circle. I'll show you guys later, just to give a little bit more visual feedback and to show you that you've used that ability. So that's just a nice simple thing. It's the first piece of permanent UI that I have on the screen. I guess like the gem counter could be counted as permanent, but it only shows up when you pick up a gem. But I think it's it's subtle enough and it still fits my sort of minimal UI style. Speaking of UI, I have tightened up and improved the pause menu a little bit. You'll notice when I hit that, it fades in a little bit. That's just a nice little touch. I darken this stuff up a little bit so it works better on any background. And then this box is now like the proper size. It wasn't before. I added a target FPS and the resolution thing. Let me make sure that's set right. So you can limit your FPS, which I'm doing for this video because I was having some issues with the recording being laggy when I wasn't limiting it to 60 FPS, because that's what I record at too. So just to keep those in sync, I've added the FPS limiter. It goes all the way up to 144. I'll probably make it go to whatever the new, I think it's like 215 hertz, 210, something like that. I'll probably up it to that. I think you guys have seen Star Platform over here. In case you haven't, this is where you're going to collect your star fragments. They just get sort of slotted into place here when you collect them. So eventually you can get up on this platform and fly off to Spaceland. Spaceland sounds cool, dude. That should be canon. I like that. Spaceland. Right. Moving on. I moved around the trees a little bit here, and I basically removed all the boulders and trees and replaced them. Very minor thing that I will point out to you guys before I trigger this first cutscene. I added an alpha mask to the final output of the portal shader, which means now basically the portal is like a big plane. I'm using the top of Bun's head as a pen, so basically this area right here is like the plane that the portal's on. Now it just, when the portal swoops in, it doesn't appear like in the corner of the plane first. It's got a nice circular mask to it, so it stays in. You can see what I mean. Very nice. I also, just for fun, added a cool little assembly of pots here, so you can just do a big smash for fun and go like that. Dope. Oh yeah, I added a little star transition. I hope you guys think that's cool, because I do. And here we are in the dust map that is now blurry, but I think it really does give it a nice sense of scale when you look around. But you know. So, is there anything new here? I made the levers the color of Bun. I also made the door the color of Bun. The reason is that the shader I'm using is a triplanar shader, which means all the texturing is done in world space. So if I move an object, the texture is still like in the same spot. Like this rock on the ground, if I scooted this pillar over, that rock would be in the same spot, if that makes sense. It was like an issue that you guys were noticing before. I basically just solved it by making everything that moves a solid color instead of a texture. So that's why the levers look like that, and it looks a little more Bun-like. Same with the door. Alright. We've also started working on some little secret paths, like this one here that goes, that brings you on top of the spawn area, back behind there. Just some cool places to explore. Depth of field also makes all the cutscenes look a lot more cinematic. But yeah, you can smash the fences by jumping on them too. It's pretty cool. Sometimes they give you money. Alright. So we got our star fragment. Let's head into the boop world. You will notice the trees here also have that nice little falling leaf effect. Added some plants, some of those glowy plants from the hub world, and some pillars in here just for a little bit of world buildy type stuff. And then here we have our Gordo man, who now just stares at you. Now we have our first boop. Let's give him a pear. He's gonna find that one, I think. Good job, buddy. What's your name? Manford. That's my dog's name. No way. Let's see how much money I have. 227. Okay, so I have put Elephant in the Boop world here as well, but now she's selling a flower pot. And this is an item exclusive to the Boop world. It's just another collectible, but it will let you plant a fruit in the pot by throwing the fruit at the pot or vice versa. And then when you re-enter the Boop world, there will be 2 of that fruit instead of 1. So I thought that was just a pretty simple, understandable way to be able to have a consistent supply of food for your boops without having to replay levels over and over and over again. And that's about it. That was my reasoning. But like 300, it's a little bit pricey. As you can see, I beat the first level. I only have 227. If I had gone and gotten all the collectibles, I would probably have 300 right now, and I could plant one if I wanted to. But you know, I'm going to go buy roll now. So yeah. Alright, so here we are back in the hub world, and I'm going to go visit Elephant's shop and buy myself the roll ability. So now you'll see in the bottom right, there's a roll, and if I press the roll button, B on an Xbox controller, for me it's circle because it's PS4, but you'll see that little like a white circle in the bottom right, or bottom left, to show you that you've used it. I think I'm going to do like a radial effect on the color, where it's like it fills up in a circle as your cooldown expires, because there is a short mini cooldown. It's just kind of a hidden cooldown for rolling. But I think visualizing that would be cool too, so especially because the accuracy is important in this game, or can be. But yeah, that's that. So let's head to Pastel. So I have I've been trying to sort of establish some rules for myself when it comes to placing these platforms. Like originally I had these platforms just going out to here and then it stopped. I decided I don't want dead ends. All like sequences of platforms should always lead somewhere. So I have added these ones that go right up and over, and this one's a pretty long jump there. But it's just another way to get here, and then you can actually take this backwards if you have roll. Or if you don't, even. Wow, okay. To get up here. Easy skips for speedrunners, am I right? Oh shit. And here's what I'm talking about with like keeping the platforms in focus when the camera gets close to Bun. When the camera collides with the wall, it can sort of stick up like that. And this just makes sure where you're jumping is in focus. Alright, so now we can buy a flower pot. Just goes right into your hand for placement in the world. Then, just like with real life gardening, you just kind of take a fruit and you throw it at your flower pot. God damn it. There we go. And then an explosion happens, fruit goes in the pot, and now it's planted. It looks a little janky right now. I'm gonna update the effect, but right now it just basically strips all the collectible gunk off of the Peach game object and just puts like a visual representation of it in the pot so you can see it. But this looks good enough, I think. It works well enough to at least demonstrate, or like to show to the player that the item is planted. So when we come back here after the next level, we will have 2 peaches. Smash. 424. 444. 464. 484. And 500. Let's go. So now we can buy the glide ability. Pay attention to the bottom left of the screen where you will notice the feather lights up. Ellie does her wiggle dance. And now we can glide. One other thing I want to mention is I made glide increase your forward speed a little bit just because it's the last upgrade of the game and it should be pretty good. So gliding is now sort of the faster option for movement in general than running. That just incentivizes players to use it more, I think, and makes it a more fun ability. Here we are back in the Boop world where we get all our collectibles from that level. And let's see what's planted in here now. Yep, still a peach. And I'm guessing this peach here is the one that was generated because of this flower pot. So that's just going to keep happening now every time you load in, and eventually you'll have an obscene number of fruit. I will eventually need to come up with a solution to deal with an obscene number of objects in this world, but for now, like performance-wise, it always runs well, and you always do need a consistent supply of fruit to feed your boops, especially if you get like, 10, 12, 20, 30 in here, you're gonna need a lot of food, so that's what you do. So you want to make some bananas, just say yeet it at the banana. Yeet it at the banana. There we go. And it's planted. Beautiful. Feel free to give feedback on anything. All feedback is appreciated, and it just will help me make a better game. Okay, so thank you guys for watching Devlog 17. Make sure to wishlist Bun on Steam. That's like the #1 thing you can do to help me, because it boosts how much the Steam algorithm likes me and likes Bun, and it will give us a big boost. Be sure to subscribe and like the video and comment and engage with it for the other algorithm, because everything's based on algorithms. All right, love you guys, and I will talk to you in a week or two. Peace. One of the leaves is wood. Oh no. Just a little plane of wood.